PlayStation 3 was launched on 11th November 2006. At this point in time, the PlayStation 3 is more than 10 years old. It has been home to great titles like the Uncharted series, The Last of Us, Gran Turismo, the Metal Gear Solid 4, just to name a few exclusives. We have had countless hours of fun playing on our PlayStation 3, and it's time that we show some TLC to our system. Since the system is more than 10 years old, there's a good chance there's a good amount of dust buildup inside the system. So we are going to clean the system thoroughly from inside, and we will also apply fresh thermal paste on both the GPU and the CPU of the system. So guys, this is Sid from Game Mechanics. Come and join me in cleaning my PlayStation 3 Slim. Before we start guys, Game Mechanics is a new channel, and if you like the videos on the channel, please subscribe to my channel. I will highly appreciate it. So guys, if your PlayStation 3 has never been opened from inside, never been cleaned up, there's a lot of dust lying inside the PlayStation 3. The fan would start making a lot of sound due to the thermals. In this case, you need to open your PlayStation 3, clean all the dust and the gunk from inside so that there is proper air ventilation inside the PlayStation 3, and also replace the thermal grease. This will get rid of all the sound issues, etc. If your PlayStation is making a lot of fan sound, it will get rid of it and it will be as good as new. So we will start with cleaning of the PlayStation 3. So guys, the stuff that I'll be requiring for cleaning up my PlayStation 3 is right here. So I have the thermal paste right here. I got it from AliExpress. It is one of the more famous ones, and it's known to be quite good for its thermal performance. It's the GD900. I will post a link to all the things that I used for cleaning up my PlayStation 3 in the video description. Then I have isopropyl alcohol. Then I will use some bit of tissue paper for cleaning up the chips, to remove the old thermal grease. Then I have a set of screwdrivers and its bits. Then I have all the brushes which were available to me at this point in time. I'll be using this to clean it up. So first of all, we need to turn it around. We need to remove all the screws right here, and also these torque bits while opening the PlayStation 3. So there are 4 of these torque screws which we'll be removing, and then there are a set of screws which are hidden under these enclosures. So we'll be removing this to expose the screws. So ideally these 2 screws are also hidden under rubber feet. We'll be removing these to expose the screws. Okay, the first thing we need to do is to take out the hard drive. The PlayStation hard drive needs to be removed. So for this, there's this panel. If you pick it up and expose it, if you turn it around like this, so it's closed like this, you pick it up from this notch and turn it around. We'll expose this screw. We'll unscrew this. Guys, be patient with your system. If something's not coming out, do not push hard. You end up breaking something in your system, and you keep it aside and finishing. Okay, once you have removed this screw, right, you slide this mechanism to the right, and it will just move and come off like this. Then you pick up this handle of the drive caddy and you simply pick out the PlayStation hard drive like this. Once done, put this latch in place so it doesn't break. One of these rubber feet is just a dummy, so let it be there. Start unscrewing these screws. I'll fast forward the footage as required, and I'll slow it down if there is something that I need to tell you in between. this point in time we are ready to remove the top lid. So turn your PlayStation 3 around and try to pick your lid, and it should come off easy. You can see a little bit of dust which has been deposited here, not much actually. So I'll use a brush to remove it. First thing we need to do is remove this PSU. This is the main power supply unit. So first of all, for this you need to remove this power header from here. This power header, I hope you can see it. Just twist it and try to pull it, it should come off. On the other side as well, the main power is supplied through this header to the PSU. Once you have done these two, you should be able to easily pick it up and pull it out. Apart from, there are two screws which are securing this PSU in place. So we need to unscrew these two screws. We should be able to take our DVD drive off. In order to take the DVD drive off, there's one screw which is securing this DVD drive. You need to take it off. For my model, there are 3 ribbon cables which are going from the DVD drive to the main board. We need to take out these ribbon cables. We need to pick up our power reset board and keep it to another side. And at this point in time, we should be able to pick our DVD drive and pick it off. There is one more cable which is a little tricky, but it usually comes off by a gentle force. Right, but putting it back is a little bit of a pain. I'll explain that later in the video. We'll put it to another side. We need to take out this ribbon cable to take out this power board. You're gonna pick it up and pull it out and keep the things aside. Now we need to remove these 2 screws from the hard drive cable. These 2, the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antenna screws, and also their bits from here, and then remove these screws to get the whole board out. The screws right here, wherever the arrows are marked. And at this point in time, we should be able to easily pick up our motherboard and release. You see if there is some build-up of gunk, etc. on the body. We'll try to give it a gentle cleaning. Now we come to the motherboard. Now these are the X clamps. To get to the CPU and GPU, we need to remove these 2 X clamps. Make sure that you keep these screws in place. These are really important, and the life of your PlayStation 3 completely depends upon it. If your CPU GPU starts getting too hot and the BGA, which is the ball grid array or the connections of the CPU GPU to the motherboard, break, it's hard to really repair it. So make sure you do it very gently and keep these 2 clamps securely. Do remember to put the screw back. You cannot operate your PlayStation 3 without these 2 screws being in place. And at this point we can remove this metal shield from here after removing screws. If you look closely while you're here at the same spot where I am working at the moment, the places where screws are to be put in are clearly marked with arrows. So these are the two arrows which have been marked for the X clamps. If you can see here, these are the arrows for the smaller screws that we just took out, right? So there is no arrow here, right? If you notice here, so there won't be any screw going in here. There will just be a screw here, here, here. At this point in time, your shield should easily come out, and there we are. And at this point, we should be able to turn our motherboard around and separate it from the heatsink. Be gentle with this, don't rush it, do not rush it at all. Yeah, it should just now come out now. There's nothing more which is left for me to do. At this point in time, you can take off your motherboard out. I forgot one. You need to take out this fan plug from here, fan header. Taking it out, and I'm good to go. So we look at it at this moment, that all the thermal grease at this point in time is quite crusty. It's not Don't be too rough with it. You'll end up damaging your PlayStation 3. Have some patience, take your time with it, and you should be okay. It's not that difficult to do. Now we need to apply a fresh coat of thermal grease, and let's start closing the system back. So I'll be using this GD100 as I described before, this GD100 thermal grease. And the technique that I use is I like to put a pea-sized amount in the middle of the CPU. That should be enough. The amount of thermal grease doesn't really hurt. Even if it is a little more, it's okay. It should not be less. And if you try to spread it evenly across, that should be also alright. So at this point in time, what I have done, I have spread the thermal compound evenly across both the chips, and now we are ready to reassemble. You see, they're done. It's been spread evenly across, and we are now going to close the system. You look at this HDMI header and other things which are right here, other ports. So you line them up and put it in there. You line the ports up and you put it back together. The first thing after getting this back on is you have to, the first thing that needs to go in is the X clamps. The X clamps will make sure that the thermal grease goes in uniformly across both the chips. Remember, there's an arrow mark wherever the screws need to be put in. At this point in time, do remember to hook on your fan cable. I'll put the motherboard back into the chassis. It's back on. We can put our Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antennas back in place. If you are confused at this point in time that where exactly the white wire goes and where the black wire goes, there's clearly a marking which says W here, which means the white wire has to be hooked onto this. I like that. Now you need to hook on this ribbon cable back into the slot and just gently push it back in. That will lock the cable into place. This is a little tricky. You keep facing the wire. You've got to pick it up like this, have a view of inside and try to place it with 2 of your fingers. So I've managed to put that into place now. You've got to hook up the rest of the ribbon cables. Yeah. Once that is done, you need to place this piece back into place. You need to put it back into place. Once that's done, you need to put the power supply in. So your guide are these 2 sockets which fit in here. So you just need to place it over there and press lightly on it. Then you need to put your wiring in place. The wires that you took out before, you got to hook them on. First is the mains power. You got to put it in, and then it's the second power slot. And then you need to secure the power supply using 2 Phillips screws, which we took out before. Drive back into slot. Put the screw in, put this piece back in, and then you need to screw it back. The last piece which goes in, and at this point in time your PlayStation should be as good as new from inside. I'll just give it a nice clean from the outside using some isopropyl alcohol. Make your PlayStation 3 sound much better inside the room. It will not be loud and whining, and the life of your system is increased. So there you go, my friends. It's all done and set. Now you have a very quiet sounding PS3. Look at this beauty now. It's completely been polished, it's cleaned up, it's nice. The operating temperatures of the PlayStation 3 have dropped by at least 5 degrees. That is what I saw during Last of Us gameplay. And it is ready to service me for the next 5 years. So guys, you should also do the same thing to your PlayStation 3. And if you liked my video, please subscribe and like. Thanks for watching Game Mechanics. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.